Hey VC, this is Chad. This is a haul video for, I guess, the week before Thanksgiving. And these are all pickups from November. I attended a record fair over the weekend, and I want to show you some of the cool stuff that I got. Starting with this guy is what I'm listening to right now. This is the third album by Tank. It's called This Means War, and this one is a Netherlands pressing on Roadrunner. I don't think there was a US pressing. This is their third album. Anyways, Tank is a new wave of British heavy metal band, if you haven't heard of them. Very rock and roll, like a Motorhead. The bass player used to be in the Saints and the Damned. Algie Ward is his name, but they rock. I have the second album is my favorite, the Filth Hounds of Hades. And this guy, This Means War, I just picked up, and it sounds pretty great. So, Tank. Here's another classic metal album that I was looking for a while. This is an EP by the band Possessed, and it's The Eyes of Horror. So, this is an EP on Combat Records. I'm not sure if it was repressed anytime, but there's 5 songs on here from 1987. Possessed is a really great thrash band. A little bit more complicated than that, but check out one of their albums, Seven Churches, is really great as well. I forget how many, they have a good bit of albums, at least 2. And then this EP, Eyes of Horror. So here is there was a guy at the record fair that had 20%, he had a 50% off all his crates, so I was super happy to dig through some of his stuff, and I found a copy of an original Iron Maiden Live After Death. He had I think $20 on here, and it ended up being $10, so I thought that was a pretty good deal. This copy is really clean, but it actually happens to be a record club, RCA Record Club version, so the barcode is missing, and there's no booklet, but there are inner sleeves, so I didn't have an original copy of this, so I was super happy to pick it up. $10. So here is seems to be a favorite around the VC lately, all thanks to Andrew at Tales from the Crate. And it's the Bob Seger System's Mongrel. And I'm pretty sure I've seen this record around a lot, and flipping through crates, I always thought it was just, Mongrel. I never really, saw the bottom and knew this was a Bob Seger record, and I'm really happy I found this. It's a really great rock record. Songs like, I think, Lucifer, the whole side, Song to Rufus, Highway Child. The first side is really great. So this is a reissue from the late 70s, I believe. They haven't reissued it anytime within the last since then, but this pressing you can get fairly cheap, 15 to $20 or even less than that. Some people find it in dollar bins or whatever. So if you do see this, Andrew, thanks for the recommendation. This is a great record. So Mongrel. So here's a record I don't see very much. I don't have anything currently on vinyl from this band, but I'm familiar with them. And it's Foo Manchu. They're a desert rock stoner band. I think I've mentioned before that Queens of the Stone Age is one of my favorite bands. So it comes from the same school of desert rock. Nebula, Caius. This one is from 1996, and I believe there was some songs from Fu Manchu or Nebula in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which I'm familiar with some of the songs. So this was a reissue on At the Dojo Cobra side from maybe the early 2000s, I believe. So this record comes in a ton of colors. This is just a black one. I paid $15. It seems to go for, between that and $30. So I thought I'd pick it up. I think I'll like it. So I haven't given it a spin yet, but really looking forward to it. So Fu Manchu. So I was happy to find this guy. Another band that I've mentioned a lot, Nicky Anderson, guitar player, drummer for Entombed. This is his band, The Helicopters, and they released a final single. They broke up a while ago, and they released a new single at the end of last year, and it came on a ton of colors, and it was only available in Sweden, I believe, and then some people imported it, but this is the black vinyl version, and it's got a really cool black just embossed sleeve here, and there are 2 songs on here, and I haven't listened to them yet, but I'm really excited to give it a spin. So Helicopters, and this is on Psych Out Records, but yeah, Helicopters, really great rock band. So here's a record that I haven't seen before. I didn't know too much about it, but I've been on a tear with some Kinks stuff, so I picked it up. This is the Great Lost Kinks album, and it was released on Reprise Records in 73, I believe. And so I guess this album, I don't think it's a compilation. I think it was just an album that was never released. I guess I should have looked it up, but I'm assuming the songs are from the late 60s, early 70s, because I'm not like everybody else is on here. I have that on maybe the first record or some other compilation I've heard. I've given this one spin. It's got some cool songs on it, so I need to dig into it a little bit more. Unfortunately, the cover is kind of tore apart, but the vinyl is really nice, and this record actually goes for a good bit of money. I think I paid a little less than $20 for it, so I was happy to pick it up. So Kinks, I don't see this one around too much. So here was a weird record I always pick up. I tend to look for some weird heavy metal records. A guy had 2 crates of just records. They were very clean, no sleeves or anything, no outer sleeves, I mean. And I picked this one up. I have no idea what it sounds like, and I based it on the looks of the guys on the back. They look pretty burly, and so this band is called Guitar Pete's Axe Attack, and it was released on Napalm Records in 1986. And one thing after looking it up, basically the band is from New York, and the funny thing is that the guy here, Chris Ward, is the bass player, I think, in this band. It's actually CJ Ramone. I forget what era of he was in the Ramones briefly, but so we'll see what this sounds like. Maybe do another update on it, but looks pretty cool. Cover's kind of obscured, but it's called Nightmare. So Axe Attack. Here was a really cool record. I actually look for this kind of stuff all the time. I collect weird, soundtracks and just spoken word records. And this is one from 1973, I believe, and it's The Coven of Witches' Tales. But the cool thing about this is it's actually narrated by Vincent Price. So this record I was really excited to find, and I opened it up and it looks super clean, like it was never played. And then on the back I saw some like dirt, and I thought it was dirt, but it looks like maybe somebody dropped it or something, so there's a little scuff on it. I'm not sure if it's going to affect the play or not. I've only got through side one. So these are cool stories about witches and witchcraft, and there's some tales like Baby Yaga and To Cause a Witch to Die. So these are just stories narrated by Vincent Price. So he has a good bit of material out there. They're pretty hard to find, so if you ever see these, expect to pay anywhere from like $15 to $50 at least. So Coven of Witches, Vincent Price. Here was another one I pulled out of the 50% off rack, and it is a promotional DJ copy of Hijack by Amon Dole 2. So this record was released on Atco in 1974. If you're not familiar with Amon Dole 2, whatever, they are a krautrock, progressive rock band. They probably have 20 albums or something like that. I know there was a bunch of different factions. I haven't listened to anything outside of the 70s. Their second album, I believe it is, or third album, Yeti, is a super classic prog krautrock record. This one has some really great rock songs on it. I actually saw this recently. There is a reissue from maybe, I guess it's on Atco as well. But this is the record is in great shape. Comes with the original inner sleeve. So I think I paid $7 for this, which I thought was a great bargain. So I'm on Dole 2, Hijack. This next record was one of the cheapest records I got. It's okay condition. The inner sleeve is pretty mint. The record looks maybe like VG. Nothing deep, but there's some scuffs on here. This is actually a original pressing of, one second here, Combat Rock from The Clash. Of course, I don't think I didn't have a copy of this, but everyone knows, like, Should I Stay or Should I Go, Rock the Casbah, Straight to Hell. I think I might have this on cassette or CD or something, but this is a record released in 1982 on Epic CBS, so everyone knows The Clash. It's a great record. I think I might have already said, but I paid $5 for this, so couldn't pass it up. So. Here's another record I pulled off of the 50% off table. Even though it says on here red label censored, I still bought it. I have a copy already. It's a great record. Anytime I see it for fairly cheap, I buy it. And it's MC5 Kick Out the Jams. The interesting thing about this is that the labels, it does have the MC5 logo, but Kick Out the Jams is in a different font than the one I have. This, is an original red label Electra, but the thing about, if people say, censored or whatever, it's all faded out down here. And so somebody wrote their name on here, of course, but the gatefold's pretty clean. And I'll keep a second copy around since this album's so good. I love the MC5. I have originals of everything except High Time, maybe. And then I have a few different various comps and stuff, but MC5. So this was the last record I got at the fair, and it was my favorite piece that I picked up. It's pretty interesting. It is a record I didn't have that it's been on my list for a while, and it is the Safe as Milk from Captain Beefheart. And this one is pretty cool because it is a radio promo, and it has promo labels. This is actually a later press on Budo Records. It has kaleidoscope labels. So the record is super clean. I'm not sure if it was supposed to have an insert. There is, an original inner sleeve from Buddha, but since it was a radio promo, the jacket's a little yellowed, but it's all complete. So this record is really a great classic Beefheart record. So probably still need an original copy of Trout Mask Replica, and then I have a good bit of Beefheart stuff that I've been really listening to lately as well. So those are all the records, like I said, I picked up at the fair. I spent a good bit the week before Record Store Day, which, there isn't that much that I want to buy, but some of this stuff I don't see too often, so I had to pick it up. So I have a whole crate of stuff that I got in November, but I'm just going to go through a couple more things that I picked up, and then I'll save some of the other stuff for another video. So these are records that I picked up at local shops, and they're all used records. And first one here is a single from the Beastie Boys. This is an original gold stamp promo for She's Crafty, and No Sleep Till Brooklyn is on the back, so it's really clean copy. It's got a cool picture sleeve, so Beastie Boys. This record is kind of thrashed. I remember I got the cassette single originally when this came out, but I saw this and I had to pick it up. Condition, like I said, looks like it's been played a lot, but the record on one side at least is pretty clean, and it's DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, A Nightmare on My Street. And I'm sure if you're familiar with this, it's basically they sample Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's just about I don't know if this was on their, might have been on their record, I don't remember, I don't know the name of their album this came off of, but it's it's all about Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street, so it's pretty cool. The thing about this one, when I was looking it up on Discogs, is that their air labels, they actually omitted Will Smith, the Fresh Prince from it just says DJ Jazzy Jeff on the labels, but on the jacket it says the Fresh Prince. So I thought that was, I don't think it doesn't really affect the value too much, but you can find this record for, you know, a few bucks. So. It was a pretty cool find. It's the first Violent Femmes record, and self-titled, and this is on Slash Records. When I bought it, I didn't look it up on Discogs or anything. The sticker on it said it was the first pressing. I think it was, I paid 20 bucks for it. Comes with an original inner sleeve, but turns out it's not. The original press, the first pressing has these Slash, like a block label on it. These have standard Slash labels, so it's the second pressing, but it's still, you know, I don't know. I think it goes for a little bit more than 20, but I didn't have a copy of this on vinyl, so I was pretty happy to pick it up. Everybody knows the Violent Femmes, so. At the same time, I picked up a record I see a lot on the VC. I've always seen this record at the flea market, and it's usually pretty beat up, but it's Gentle Giant, Three Friends, so it's like a prog rock record, and it's got a pretty cool fold out sleeve. It's in pretty decent shape, so I paid a few bucks for it, and happy to pick this up. So it's an original on, I don't know if it's a 2i or, no, it's a early 70s Columbia label, so. The cat is snoring over there. I don't know if you can hear it, but. So here's one. These are a few records that I got a few weeks ago. They're a little bit more pricey, not too pricey, but just got them from the kind of wall record bin. So the first one is Makwane. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's the first record from Tricky, and this is a original UK pressing. I don't know if you're familiar with Tricky. I'm sure you've heard him. This record came out in 1995 on Island Records. I had this on CD. Tricky plays, it's kind of, you know, trip hop, I'd say, is, or like down tempo kind of stuff. The thing about this is that he was featured on a Massive Attack record, and a lot of the same like rhymes appear on there. I don't remember if exactly if they sampled this record or if he just kind of recycled the same rhymes. But I really dig this. The A side on this is really great. So they actually do a cover of Public Enemy on here. It's the can't remember I don't know if they changed the name of the song, but it's pretty cool. So Tricky, and there's a lot of vocals from a female, Martina, I believe is her name. She is really great, and the labels are cool. Look like you know, original tape reels or whatever. So it's a pretty great copy. It's like a, you know, $20 to $30 record if you ever see it. So this record could have been on Ronnie's Record Room, one more vinyl. So anytime I see this, I pick it up. I have probably 7 copies already as it is. I showed a few videos ago, maybe the last video, I showed my Vertigo copies, and it is a 1976 pressing on, I don't know if you say NEMS or NEMS, or I just say NEMS, but it's the classic Master of Reality. This is probably my favorite Black Sabbath. It's really clean copy. Some of the, like I said, the varnish or whatever is peeling off of here, but I think for the price I paid, it's a really great record to have. I dig the colors on this one. The layout is pretty simple. Black NEMS labels, UK 1976, so Black Sabbath. So I'm going to hold the rest of this stuff. The last record I'm going to show is one that I got in the mail. It's a 10-inch, and it's from the band Ghost. It's got a cool picture. It's a picture disc on both sides. And there's only 4 songs. It's the track off of their latest album, which is, the name escapes me at this second. It's called He Is, the song. There are 3 remixes and 1 live version of it. I mean, is it essential to, I mean, if you collect Ghost, sure. I don't know if it's really essential. If you never heard of them, I don't know if this is a great place to start. This song, or this actual song, and some of the versions remind me of the indie band from the early 2000s or late 90s maybe. Sounds like Interpol. So He Is, Ghost, and I think that'll be my last record for this week. Well, at least this video. So I hope to make another video maybe after this, or later this week. If not, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Pretty happy to have a few days off to listen to some of these records and do some organizing. So thanks to Ronnie and Andrew over at Tales from the Crate for shout outs in my friend Morrissey's video contest as well. So see you next week. Thanks.